Gage, file 24124.
All right, we're on record for what's been docketed as our second review and a privacy plan hearing. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Nicole Underwood, lawyer regarding that item.
Brenda Burgess,
Ms.
foster care work department. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can finish, Ms. Burgess.
She did.
Okay. Sorry, cut out on my end. Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department.
Michael Brooks, I represent the father, Mr. Cody Gage.
Cody Gage, Cody Jr.'s father.
Thanks. All right, Ms. Underwood.
Your Honor, I was able to meet with Cody Jr. Via Zoom or FaceTime yesterday. He was just getting out of school. But this was not the first contact I've had with him in this reporting period. We've had some FTMs and conversations over the last reporting period about potential goal change and what that looks like for Cody and what he may want. He's doing very well at Saline schools. He's indicated that he's no longer in the math classes that help him or where he's behind and struggling. He's reintegrating into what he called the normal or regular math classes, which is really good to see. He seems to be doing really well at Saline and enjoying where he's at. And he considers his current placement his mom. So he really is in a stable, happy home that meets all of his needs and is in his best interest.
Thank you. Testimony today, Ms. Thomas.
Your Honor, I would ask if Mr. Gage would like to testify to anything at this time.
Do we? No. He does not.
Okay, then I'll just ask Ms. Burgess to be sworn in to provide her report.
To our witness.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, there you are. Thank you. Whenever you're ready, Ms. Thomas. Oh, you're muted.
Thanks for catching that, Your Honor. Ms. Burgess, it looks like you've prepared a court report for today's hearing, and in part of that is the court report, a case service plan, several certificates that Mr. Gage has completed. There's a CMH access screening report, and then the initial biopsychosocial report from CMH, an email from Ms. Sally Welsh, and then parenting time logs for Mr. Gage and the child. Are there any other documents outside of the ones listed on your cover sheet that you have circulated to the parties or to the court?
No.
Okay. And then are there any updates or modifications to the best of your knowledge that need to be made to any of those documents?
No.
Okay. And at this time, the current permanency, what is the current permanency goal for the child?
Reunification with father.
And okay. And at this time, are you continuing to recommend reunification?
No.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the proposed goal in your court report?
Yes, we're recommending a guardianship for the child with his current placement. That was really Mr. Gage's, at Mr. Gage's request. I think he thought that that was the goal the whole time. But we did have a family team meeting about it, and he's in agreement with that. He believes that would be the best thing for his child.
Typically, regarding the hierarchy of permanency, if reunification cannot be achieved, the next goal is adoption. Can you articulate reasons why adoption should be ruled out in this matter?
I believe just due to Cody's age and his attachment with his father, he does have a relationship with him, and they will be able to maintain that relationship through guardianship.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And throughout this reporting period, how would you describe Mr. Gage's level of compliance with and benefit from the case service plan as it's been court ordered?
Sure. So he is, I would say he's in compliance or in partial compliance. He is working as an assistant manager at Burger King. He just told me today that he's going to be taking over as general manager. He is working a lot. He's been able to obtain his driver's license and get his own transportation. He's currently looking for housing. He has said that he's been in treatment with Sally Welsh. However, I don't have any documentation that says that he has been. Her last contact with him was in December. Regarding his probation, he's in compliance, and his parenting time, he's been in compliance.
Your court report indicates that there's a request for discretion to allow unsupervised parenting time. Are you still requesting that today?
For discretion, yes.
Okay. And the reasonable efforts being made towards the goal of, I mean, it's a little premature to say this, but towards the goal of guardianship, it looks like the placement, I'm sorry, is trying, or at least going through the process of licensure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And is everything still moving along fairly well for that process?
Yes, I know she started the process. She's working with our agency, and our agency has met with her. So she has paperwork to fill out.
Okay. And are there any updates regarding the child that you'd like the court to be aware of?
No updates. He is doing really well in school. He always appears very happy to me. And he's always very polite and very sweet. So he's doing very well. He did have one hiccup where he was in a fight in school and had a school suspension. I'm not sure he knows why he did that, but overall he's doing well.
Okay. And is he receiving any mental health services or therapeutic services?
He is. It's through Dimensions of Wellness.
Okay. And then parenting time reports, it seems that everything's going fairly well with Miss Edwards. Is that your perception as well?
Yes, I mean, there have been a few cancellations, especially the Zoom visits due to due to Mr. Gage's work schedule, but overall he's been compliant.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Burgess and would move to admit the court report with the attachments.
No objection.
Thank you. They are received. Questions for this witness, Mr. Brooks?
As these things go, it appears that Mr. Gage is improving significantly, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's doing well.
But he's on board with the guardianship and the person who's asking for guardianship.
Yes, he is.
Nothing further.
Ms. Underwood? No questions. Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat. Any other witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Gage, I do have a question for you. Mostly is, and Deputy Ames, could you swear him in for me, please? Mr. Cody Gage.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir. Or yes.
All right, so my main question for you, Mr. Gage, is Ms. Burgess testified that she thought you would be in support of a guardianship arrangement for you and your son. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were on the same page.
I just, everyone knows I'm still on felony probation for 5 years, no matter what, downstairs. I can miss a payment. I could have him back and then, miss a payment, and then there I am, 45 days in jail, and we're back here. So he loves his mom. He's been doing great there. Tired of him always moving around. Either different apartments and everything. Erica's lived the same place most of her life. It's her condo. He knows that as his home. It's his room. It's always been his room. I just don't want to ever have to take that from him ever again or have him lose out on that.
But you still intend to be part of his life.
All as much as possible.
That's good. Are you in compliance with all of your probation terms at this time?
Yes.
That's good. Are they requiring you to do any kind of mental health treatment?
I was doing it through here and through them too. Well, they both want me to do it, in front of the court, and Mr. Jones wants me to do, make sure I'm on my medications, which I do. I go through the Helo lab, make sure they're always ordered. Doing, the counseling with Recovery Road.
Is that with Sally Welch?
Yeah.
Because she sent an email to Ms. Burgess that said that she hasn't seen you.
Yeah, Mr. Jones has made sure that that's not gonna happen anymore, so.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have questions?
One,
Go ahead.
how many hours a week do you work?
Over 120. I'm sorry, that's actually, I'm sorry, a week.
A
It's-
week.
Yeah, it's between 60 and 70 hours in that version.
No further questions.
Any questions, Ms. Underwood?
No, Your Honor, you asked the questions I would have asked. So.
Wow. Ms. Thomas, any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, one more for Ms. Dillon too. So if the guardianship is going to be the goal, my last understanding, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, please, is that the placement will have to get licensed and then it would be another 6 months after licensing. Is that right?
The way I understand it is that he would not have to be there for the entire 6 months because of the funding. That's my latest information, and policy is always changing, so I'm not exactly, I don't want to say that for 100%.
All right. And how far along are they in the licensing process?
I mean, she did what was needed for foster care payments before, so she's already done some of that, and then I'm not exactly sure how much they thought it would take, maybe 3 months, which is pretty quick.
So we'll look for updates from you on those pieces, of course.
Yes.
All right. Anyone have questions based on my questions for Ms. Burgess?
No, Your
Oh,
Honor.
yeah.
None, thank you.
All right, Ms. Thomas, I look forward to your closing comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we are asking the court for that goal change to juvenile guardianship. It seems that it's proper to rule out adoption, giving the father-son relationship. It's also really nice to hear in our cases a parent who is able to really take themselves out of the equation and focus on the well-being of their child. And I think Mr. Gage has articulated that very nicely today. I commend him in his efforts to maintain his sobriety, to work hard, obtain independent transportation, working towards independent housing, and really being insightful as to the reality of a situation. I think that's really what we aim for all of our parents, is to achieve that independence and have the motivation to do that for the benefit of themselves and in consequence for their children. I think that Ms. Burgess has, I would say, provided reasonable efforts in ensuring that referrals are made where they need to be made, maintaining the checkup on the child's educational needs, mental health needs, assisting in licensure for the caregiver so that the child can, obtain permanency through that juvenile guardianship with the financial support that the caregiver, could be entitled to. So we are just asking, Your Honor, to find, I have specific notes here, Your Honor, for our permanency planning hearing, that the findings are specific in the permanency planning portion of what reasonable efforts have been made to achieve the permanency goal. whether, and obviously it's been towards reunification up to this point, if the court is, going to make that change. Otherwise, we are just asking the court to do another 90-day review. It seems that they're doing really well. And then we are also asking for that discretion to allow for unsupervised parenting time, and I'm sure there'll be a family team meeting on how to make that transition for the dyad. So thank you, Your Honor.
Comments, Mr. Brooks?
I couldn't have summarized it any better myself.
Ms. Elmwood?
Your Honor, I would also like to commend Mr. Gage, and I think you've made it clear in the family team meetings that it's commendable and it's refreshing to see a parent who's putting the needs of his child above his own, but also Mr. Gage is working hard to better his life, not only for himself, but only his child. It's kind of a vicious cycle when you have to work as much as he does in order to pay fines and try to find housing, but yet that takes away from time that he needs to work on his mental health and spend time with his son. So has to make a difficult decision to focus on himself, which means allowing his child to continue to live at a place that he feels comfortable at and actually wants to be at. Again, I think it is definitely in the minor child's best interest, but again, it's commendable and it's very refreshing to see a parent who's willing to put the needs of his child above his own, but also work towards bettering himself for not only himself, but his child. So I do believe that the goal change is consistent not only with the parent's wishes, but the child's best interest. He is in the safest and least restrictive environment, and I would ask that the goal change be ordered and the child be remaining where he's at. Thank you.
I'm sorry if I missed this, but did you speak to the child's preference?
Yes, he wishes to stay where he's at. He's supportive of this being a formalized guardianship.
Thank you. All right, well, the court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review hearing and permits and planning hearing. I have reviewed the exhibits and listened to the testimony and the arguments of the attorneys as well as Mr. Gage individually, and I do find it's appropriate to change the goal for this child from reunification to guardianship. Seems clear that he has a parent in Cody Gage that is well on his way to stabilizing under the circumstances, but wanting to allow his son to stay stabilized where he's living now in a home that he's obviously very comfortable in and feels as though it is his home, serves his interests, is appropriate. It's necessary and appropriate. It also reflects, I think the juvenile guardianship reflects that we're all optimistic that Mr. Cody Gage is going to continue to be successful in stabilizing. Because it recognizes, frankly, Mr. Gage, your right to continue to have a relationship with your son. The difference between adoption and guardianship, they're permanency planning goals. We want what's going to be most stable for your son in the future. The difference when I say an adoption versus guardianship is one of the major things I consider is whether or not a parent is a support for their child, for lack of a better way to put it. If that relationship is there and if it continues to be a positive support for the child. So everyone's already told you, great job, keep it up. There will be a period of a couple more reviews where we have to keep looking at things. So just keep doing what you're doing and developing that relationship with your son. And we'll grant the opportunity to expand into unsupervised parenting time. I think that serves both the development of the bond between the father and his son, but also reflects perhaps some of the scheduling challenges and things that are happening in the lives of both father and son. And unsupervised parenting time will allow that to grow, I think, in a way that recognizes those challenges, but also I don't find any risk or harm associated with allowing that unsupervised parenting time. It's of course supported by the department, and the goal change is supported by the department and our guardian and our parent. So the order will reflect those two changes and the continued placement for this child where he's at, that is the safest and least restrictive under the circumstances. All are in agreement. And I will note also in support of that is Mr. Gage's continued search for housing and extensive work schedule at this point, which is also necessary and appropriate for him to continue stabilizing in the areas that he's looking at, which includes complying with his probation terms. So the order will reflect also satisfaction of efforts towards reunification and for our guardian ad litem's efforts. And we'll set our next review hearing. Give a suggestion for July 8th at 9 a.m. Mr. Gage, is that a good time for you, or is afternoon better?
Um,
Doesn't matter.
anything is, and being that far ahead will work for me. I'm planning for that.
I
More like
had
the stuff that
8:30 that day, so we would just go a little bit later.
Sure.
That should only be an hour.
10 o'clock? Okay. All right, so we'll do 10 o'clock then on Tuesday, July 8th for our next review and permanency planning hearing. I doubt we'll need it, but it'll be there in case anything needs to change. And I'll have the order for you in a few minutes if you wish, or you can wait and just receive it by email. Mr. Gage, do you have a preference?
I'll take it now.
Okay, it'll be just a few minutes if you want to wait and call me.